Hi, and welcome back to Bump Love. I've always thought to myself that if I had to make a recruitment for a maid, I would probably do it exactly the way a company does. Throw out the information, get applications, have interviews, first set, second set, third set, and then get the winning maid. And there's people who've made it even more professional. Today on the show, we have Olivia Ekayu of AMANI Domestics, a domestic workers agency. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Manuela.
We're glad to have you because this topic is big in many of our homes. In fact, many times after we've sat down as women and gone through our significant others, gone through our children, most likely the next topic is the help that we have in our homes. Tell us, why is it that every time we come to talk about our maids, we have a different name? Why is it so difficult for us to keep the maids in our homes?
Thank you, Manuela, and I'm excited to be on the show. Thank you, Bump Love, for inviting me. I think I'll put them in 3 categories, but the very first one is the selection process. How do you find the person that's going to come into your home? What do you consider, or who are they? So how are you selecting them? So I would say you need to have a process, like Manuela said. Take it seriously, think about it. This person is coming for a job, first of all. They are not your relative, they are not your child, they are not somebody who is coming to do you a favor. They are coming to work. So take it as serious as I am going to employ somebody.
Wow.
So all these things of when people tell you, when I buy clothes, I buy for her. When I buy ice cream, I buy for her. When I do this, we eat together at that table and all of that. That's all good and nice, but I don't know how many of your employers do that for you. So the mindset that you have when you're employing a maid should be the mindset of an employer who is getting on board an employee.
Yes.
So the selection process, do you interview this person, or are you making a phone call to say, send me somebody?
For tomorrow.
For tomorrow, you're so impatient, you want the person tomorrow, you've gotten yourself in a fix because the person you have today has annoyed you, so you immediately call for a replacement tomorrow. You don't even make a plan and say, okay, I've seen she left the baby naked the whole day or in the same pamper. I'll give it 3 days. I'll search for somebody. You don't do that. And then you need to give yourself an opportunity to have choice. So there absolutely have to be interviews.
Wow.
You have to interview these people and just figure out who is this person and what are you interviewing. The rest of us are always interviewing people and like, who's her mother? Who's her father? Which village? You know, it's necessary because the thing is you're assuming she's going to run away and go to her mother.
Yeah.
But you see, think about it when NTV is employing you or whoever your employer is, they are not going to ask who your mother is. They want to know
What you can bring on that table.
what you can do and you know, what your competence is. And they are going to treat it with the seriousness it deserves. They are going to make you want to have that job.
Yes.
So interview the person. And then the other problem that we have is, so selection is very important. Interview at every level that you would want to. Ask them to engage them in such a way that they can tell you a story of their life. And just talk. Just let them keep talking. Tell me about yourself. What happened? You know, how many brothers do you have? So if someone's an introvert, they'll throw one word answer all the time, but then you just keep digging. What happened? What happened? Then what? You went to live with your auntie? Where did your auntie work? Throw out some irrelevant questions. Allow the person to speak. Are they speaking with bitterness? Are they speaking with a lot of regret? Are they speaking with they've given up in life? Try to understand, where does this person stand? Don't just say, oh, she grew up in the village, she's amazing. That's because that's what people say. We need somebody from the village because they are good. But if they had a stable grandmother they had what they call a good primary caregiver. That's the only reason that person will have empathy. It's the only reason they'll be honest. The location where the person grew up has no relevance to their character in the end. So this business of village or town, the town ones are thieves apparently. So interview, let your interview count. Take it seriously, but it begins with taking out that mindset of imagining that this person is coming to be a part of my family.
Yeah. So is there anything in our homes that we are doing as us that's affecting this relationship? Like, okay,
there are three things. There is poor selection. We select badly.
Okay.
Then we also have unrealistic expectations. You know, you walk, when you walk into your mom's house, or when you look at this beautiful home on TV, it looks all well done. Or when I go to visit Manuel and I find that place is all set up, I just want my maid to accomplish this same goal. My home should look like this. She should set out a table mat, and those table mats should be color coded and whatever. They should know when to clean the windows. You know, you expect that. So then but the person you've chosen, are they really up to that? So Rachel spoke about her maid who she expected to know how to mop. But you see, in your interview, did you ask her where she worked previously? Because that's how far we go. We go as far as, have you worked previously? Or for the record, we just stopped trying to even train people like before placing them. And so we just try to match people to what they have already done. So I'm going to ask you a question like, what work were you doing in the other home? Oh, I was mopping and cleaning. And then I'll go down and ask, what kind of floor was it? Yeah. Somebody who mopped a cement floor is very different from somebody who mopped a tile floor. And then the one who mopped a wooden floor is even a step higher. Yeah. So it's not just, I used to mop. Was the house storied or not? Was the, some houses have parlors and all of this. So mopping is not just mopping. And then your children, what age are they? Do I have a baby? And so I need to overlook certain things and she concentrates on the baby, or if not, I should bring in 2 people. Or how old is this girl? If she's 18, take a 20-year-old today. A 20-year-old today has most likely been to UPE for so many years. So she has spent a significant amount of time in school. Different from a 20-year-old in my mother's time who spent all that time in her mother's house. So she knows a lot more than a regular about housework and home trained. She's more home trained than a maid of today because they've been going to school. I mean, it's UPE is available. So when this girl comes into your home, you're looking at, I have a husband, but who is my husband? For heaven's sake, he's promiscuous. He's going to sleep with your maid. Why do you decide to have a stay-in maid? And yet you travel a lot. Find somewhere to take your children. Let him live in that house alone when you're not around. So be honest about your needs and your family. Study it very well. Don't just say, I need a maid and bring in somebody. So those are the categories I would put it in 3 broad categories. Selection, unrealistic expectations, and then the family DNA and your family profile. Then if you get that right, then you're at least 80% on the way to selecting somebody that can work for you. Otherwise, you're setting yourself up for a lot of frustration.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
So I wanted us to talk a bit about why you started the company, because just from your submission now, it's clear that this is something that we need to take seriously. So what was the inspiration for starting AMANI Domestics?
AMANI Domestics wasn't pre-thought, really. It started off as a classroom project. I went to do an entrepreneurship program for 3 months in 2014, and then they wanted us to have projects. And because by then I was 7 years into my maid, I'd lived with her for 7 years, and everyone around me was struggling. And I thought, then, I had a children's home sale. People would just come on Saturday and disappear. I had a children's home sale, so they would bring their children, hang around a bit, and that's the time they go to the market. Or just during the week, when people's maids disappear, they show up at mine. Yeah. Not because of me, but because of my maid. Yeah. So I realized, why are they struggling? I am very strict, very particular, but why is my maid staying? And these ladies who are kinder and more patient.
Yeah, like Rachel.
So I went into it as a project, and I did research, and I was supposed to do a presentation. I did it, and I thought, this is interesting. I might do something. So I did a business structure of how I wanted it. We don't serve everybody, but I thought, yeah, this is an area that I can make a difference. Okay. So that's how AMANI Domestics came on.
Yeah. So what are the services again? The services that you offer.
It's basically maid recruitment and placement, and also training. Okay. But we do not train how people assume that we first train the maid before we place. No. When you have a maid in your house and you would like us to train the person, that's then we come and train. We got our business model, we just crossed out the pre-training. Because people fire their maids for reasons which are not even related to their skills most of the time. True. 95% you'll fire the person for something very unrelated. True. So we realized it's not about the skill, it's about the relationship. People need to learn to manage the relationships with their maids. Yes. So once you get a maid that you like, that you can relate with, that you can stand, then we can train her for you.
Okay.
Yes.
Where and how do you get your domestic workers?
Our domestic workers walk in. Again, it's the whole professional thing. If you say that you want a job, then we have an office. Come in and register. Okay. And we do the whole thing. We interview you. We require an HIV test as part of the thing. We tell you where to do it. And then, so the girls who have gotten jobs with us over time, they recommend their sisters and their family. So you'll find us with a family of 10 girls all from the same home. Yeah. Like they recommend each other. Yeah. And then you'll find clients who are happy or who are leaving the country, or who just find people around and they're like, this lady needs a job, they'll refer. Then just the general public. Wow. What we don't do is we don't go to the villages to recruit. And the person has to be above 18. Yes. But although we prefer at least 21, 18 is just too dramatic. I mean, dealing with teenage hormones is too much.
Yes, that's very true.
Yeah, so again, back to selection. I mean, how do you bring a teenager into your home? Like how that Angie, you've gone through the teenage phase.
Yes.
Can you imagine one of your kids having a job as a housekeeper? Like how much stress and grief they would give you?
No, I can imagine an 18-year-old hanging out at my house. The last time we tried that, he said hanging out with the boys. And I'm like, but Paulo, you have your, yes. But the boys are then encouraging. Next second, they're wearing the same clothes. Yeah.
Like, I bought that for
a small party. My question would be, I mean, you've kind of already explained it, but what are your placement procedures? Yeah. Like, for example, I'm looking for somebody to stay at home. What would be the procedures that you would go for in selecting somebody for me?
For you?
Yes.
What we would do is, of course, when the girls first come in, we do a whole personal data information, like a whole biodata form. Yes. What are your names? Where are you coming from? Are you married? Do you have children? How old are your children? What jobs have you done before? We fill out a whole form with all your personal information. And then we have to take your passport photograph. And then we do a copy of your national ID. And then we have a copy of your recent HIV test. If the test is more than 3 months, we request you to repeat it. And we do not force anybody to do that test. So once we have that information, and of course we do our interview, then we say, okay, when you call in, we also we do a client profile of what are your needs? Do you have elderly people? Do you have, is she to take care of babies, elderly people, or do you have dogs? Is your house storied, or is it a bungalow? Is it units? You'd be surprised. Like, if you're living, let's say, in a unit of 4 or in flats, believe me, there is a maid you can't have. Yes, you don't want, because she'll go gossiping everywhere. And if you're very private, and you don't, then you don't want a maid who is going to stay in your house. Yeah, she'll go gossiping and telling all the other maids, and you have no control over it.
Yeah.
So you may probably want an older maid, or you may want someone who comes and goes, so that she's never part of your dinner. And so all those different details, and then we recommend. So we've interviewed the person. We give you an opportunity to also interview. So we'll send her to you. We are in Bunga. The office is in Bunga, but we'll say, I work in Wandegea. So the girl will bring herself there to where you are. Or if you tell her, meet me in Kanyanya, we ask her to find you there for the interview. Now again, that's part of it. We are trying to get, our model is we are trying to place maids for city homes. So you want a girl that can travel and get a taxi all the way to Kanyanya. And you want a girl that can call and say, I'm late, I'm lost. So she can be able to run with your child to hospital. She can be able to call you.
So coming to you is part of the interview.
Coming to us, yes, coming to you and finding her way around town is part of the whole process.
I get it.
And then when she gets there, we are able to talk about, you interview her as well. And if you like her, then you stay with her for at least 4 days to just decide if you want to keep her or not. Because our fees are a little steep. We charge 150. So we expect that we give you that time to decide, do you really want to live with this person? Or you cannot stand her. There are things that a dirty person, there is a way they will do things.
When they tell.
Immediately you can tell.
Are you flexible with that period? Because, for example, if you send me a girl for 4 days, and in those 4 days I have 2 events, the possibility of me seeing anything they're doing is almost, so I'm thinking, would you give leeway depending, like if somebody needed at least a week? So either I get through the weekend or I get to my Monday, which would be my weekend, for us to be able to connect. You do that as well.
Yes, and also we give the first 3 months for probation. So within the first 3 months, you will not pay again, but then you'll be able to have replacements. And that's when a lot of clients struggle. Somebody will be like, no, I can't stand this person. But I mean, the first 4 days is just for you to say, you know what? I can allow her to live with us. There is somebody who will enter your house and you'll be like, I cannot. She has a natural smell, and that's a big no for us. And of course, we have 2 different types of clients as well. We have the clients who are, I give you your maid, after 3 months, she's your business. But then we have the retainer clients. Those who say, I don't understand this business of maids, you take over. So that means the salary comes through us, we pay the girl, or the ladies or the man, whoever it is, the worker. If you want her to have medical or to pay her taxes, we have people who say, I want to pay for her NSSF, whatever. We sort that out. So we'll make sure she has a TIN number and everything. And then when she goes on holidays or maternity leave, then we are able to replace for you somebody. Or if she wants to go on a day off, you just say, you know what, I do not have, in my life, I don't have that time for day off to say this person is going and leaving me. No, if she's not here, I need somebody else. But it's a level of trust that a lot of Ugandans haven't gotten there. They're like, I cannot. But then in the city, more and more people are beginning to trust friends and strangers and just know, you know what, this is a job. So it's okay. I can always have somebody else if this one is going for burial. So we have those retainer, retainer clients as well, and they are very few.
Right. but they exist.
Yes.
And yes, Angie, you guys need to do this. You guys need to do this. And we want to encourage all the moms who could be having the need for a domestic worker to reach out, because hey, you're an expert at being a mom, and that's your job, not to look for a maid. So you might want to consider some of these services of having someone professionally handle your home. Again, you live in the city and you want to come off as a professional woman having a professional home, so you can't be getting a house help very unprofessionally, and there's a way for you to do this. There's something that Olivia said while we're offset that I thought that maybe you guys should hear, that there's a perfect maid for you. There's that one maid that's perfect for you, even if you're picky, even if you're hard, even if you're strict. So some of the things that she was saying to us was, you know, be kind to yourself and just know that maybe you've not found the perfect person for you yet, and that when you do, your ice cream will work, your clothes will work, then it will make sense. But yes, be kind to yourself and do the right things in order for you to be able to get the right maid for you. Another thing that is perfect for you is the PruEduSafe plan that is ready to take on your child's journey of education, because that is one of the most important things you want to do for your children. Head over to www.prudential.ug and start to see the process of how you can sign up for this package. Until next time, with love from Bump Love.